Good morning, my loves. I hope you guys are doing well. Um, this is a very specific word for someone. Although many people can learn from this, and although many of us have indeed experienced this, including myself, y'all know about me and my situation. But this is for someone, and I'm very happy that God actually chose to use me to deliver this message to you because, as someone that understands what's going on, it's best to hear from someone who understands this type of dynamic and this type of havoc that is going on. Okay, so the Lord showed me something in the spirit very early this morning. I also prayed. I prayed and I definitely rebuked and canceled any attempts from these people. Do not say anything to the witch. Don't say anything to the witch. Not yet. Okay, not yet. There is someone that has been really thinking, and it has been on their heart, like they want to confront the witch that has been attacking them. Like they want to confront them, whether it be via phone call, whether it be in person, whether it be through text message. I saw you were trying to text them. Okay, now I'm going to explain to you what the Lord showed me. The Lord showed me there was this female, and there was a text message that came in. I was able to see the person's phone. There was a text message that came in, and the text message was from the witch, the person that was attacking this female. And this witch was specifically attacking your prosperity. All right, like this person knows that you are going to be something major in life. Okay, and I'm not talking about major as in like, just someone that is just a high status. No, like major as in like you are an icon, as in like so many people look up to you, as in like you have a heavy testimony, as in like you're gonna change lives. Okay, so this person knew this, and this person was doing things to mess with you. But the main thing that they were doing was they were trying to mess with your mental health. So the type of witchcraft they were doing, it's almost like they wanted you to seem crazy. They wanted you to seem out of it. Okay, and I talked about this a lot because, as I mentioned in the past, I have been through something similar to this, as well as so many other people that watch my platform. They have been through the same thing. Okay, when they do witchcraft to target your mental, their goal is to try to get you in the hospital. Why? Because they want to have some sort of report, some sort of document to further confirm or prove that whatever, you may say about them is completely wrong. So if you do decide to confront them and call them out in front of so many people, so many of your family or friends or whoever, then all they would have to say is, look, he went to the psych ward or she went to the psych ward. Here's the paperwork to prove it. They were crazy in the past. They're probably crazy now. So when there's record of you being in the psych ward, it's a lot harder to prove that whatever it is that you're saying is actually accurate, is actually true. And that's what they try to do. That is a tactic that they use. And I talked about this in my book, Deliverance Through Knowledge. Okay, but in this dream, the person was doing something to mess with your mind, and you kept saying to yourself, I'm really not feeling well. I have a headache. I feel dizzy. I don't know what to do. And you're looking up a bunch of hospital names. Okay, and there was this one hospital. It starts with a W, and then in the middle of it, it's like a M. Okay, W and an M. So it starts with a W, and then the middle of it's an M, something with an M, right? So I don't know if that represents like the hospital in your city, the hospital in your town, but the Lord was able to show me that you were typing up a hospital on Google, and it had a W and then an M, and you were gonna go there. You were gonna actually admit yourself to the hospital because you're like, I don't feel well, something's going on, with my body. But you knew 100% that it was witchcraft, but you wanted to just go just to make sure nothing bad happens to you, right? And a text message came in from the witch, and the text message read, the witch was basically saying you need some mental cleansing, or you need to get mental healing or mental help. Like she was saying something like that, although the witch knew that she was the cause of you going through whatever you were going through, but she was aware that you were going to call her out. So she was doing this ahead of time to cover her tracks. I put out a message the other day, if you guys remember, and I talked about Pharaoh and Exodus. And Pharaoh instructed the Israelites to do something that was impossible for them to complete. Then he ended up calling them lazy because they couldn't complete it. And that's like what this woman was doing. It's like she was attacking you with witchcraft, and then she was calling you mentally ill based on what she was doing to you. And then you were trying to respond back to the message, and you were gonna say in the message, I know what you're doing to me. I know you're the one that's paying someone to do this to me. I'm not stupid. Like, you were gonna call her out basically and let her know that you're not dumb. You know what she's doing. But every time you try to text her back, it's almost like something would happen. As you're trying to text her back, it's like the words were not typing on the screen, or it's like something would happen, your phone would fall. Like, I was literally paying attention to all the attempts to text her back, but there was always something that was like coming in between you responding to her, right? So here's another thing that I noticed. As you're trying to text her back, right? And as all these like incidences were happening that was preventing you from texting her back, because there was times where you went into like one room, then you ended up in another scenery and ended up in another scenery, but I was able to witness you in all these different sceneries, right? So you know how dreams are, how they flip from scene to scene to scene to scene, like a movie basically, right? So what I was able to notice with all these sceneries is I was able to notice that there was a lot of people in the background, and you had an audience. You had an audience, okay? And it's not no typical basketball court type of audience. No, this was literally an audience of monitoring spirits. Yeah. What I realized was the audience was actually your family. Okay, so as you're going through all this, you're going from scene to scene, trying to text, trying to figure out a way to get the message to go through to the witch, to tell her, leave you alone, because you're trying to tell her, like, leave me alone, like, I know what you're doing, etc., etc., but there's all these, like, distractions, like, there's all these, like, incidences that came in between you texting her back. But how I knew it was your family was because as you're trying to text her back and get things to like the text to go through, I noticed there was other text messages coming in. You know how when a text comes through and it reads like, the text reads like a person's, the contact's name, okay? One of the contact's names said cuz, the other one said sister, the other one said uncle, the other one said auntie. Like, all these text messages kept coming through, even when you're trying to send the text to the witch to like tell her to leave you alone. All these random text messages came through from your family. And here's how I know it was your family in the background. Because as these text messages were coming through, right, you were replying to them. Basically, you were telling some of your family, I'm gonna go to the hospital, I don't feel well. You didn't say that it was the witch, but you said you weren't feeling well, right? And as you're responding to the family members, these text messages were actually going through. But as you're responding to them, they were responding back to you. And when they were responding back to you, I noticed that as they were responding back in the text messages, I was able to see the people in the audience using their phone to respond. You get it? So that's how I knew it was your family, right? As the scene went back to the original place where you're looking at the hospital and you're planning to go to the hospital, I did see like one of the responses from one of your family members where you were talking about like you're not feeling well, you're gonna go to the hospital. One of the family members said, "Oh, no judgment over here. No judgment over here." And this family member, they actually knew what was going on. But let me tell you why they knew what was going on. Let me tell you why. Because even though you didn't say nothing in the text messages to these family members about who was attacking you, what was going on, remember something. Remember, they were in the audience watching you, monitoring you. So when you were trying to text the witch, you were kind of saying out loud, why won't the text go through? I know what she's doing. Why won't she leave me alone? So they were watching you. So they already knew. They already knew that this person was attacking you with witchcraft. This person was the cause of your sickness. This person's the cause of you being held back. This person, like, they already knew all this, but you didn't know that they knew because you didn't know they were watching you like an audience. You just saw the text messages come through from them. But I was able to see that as they were sending their text messages to you, they were watching you and they were using their phone to text you. And then one of the text messages that came through from one of your family members, like I said before, when you were telling this family member that you're gonna go to the hospital, one of them responded, oh, don't worry, no judgment over here. So what does that say? What does that interpret? Your family already knows. that this person is attacking you. They're well aware of it. And the reason why they said no judgment is because they're not judging you for your actions towards this person. Okay, like they literally know what's going on and they're not judging you for it. But at the same time, the reason why many of them are not sticking up for you and not saying anything is because it's a mixture. Some of them, they're fearful to get involved because they know this woman's a witch. So they have this fear. Plus, you have to understand something. They're not as protected as you. Okay? Remember, you are walking with God. You're sensitive in the spirit. You are the chosen one. This is why this is happening to you, right? And you have to understand that because you have God's favor on your life, right? Nothing is going to harm you, but you are going to go through the fight. You are going to go through the storm because you are the chosen one, right? And the protection that you have is top tier. So even if you are feeling afflictions, you still have top tier protection, which means that because they're not on the walk like you are, because they don't really have that relationship with God. If they were to get on this witch's bad side, what the witch does to them may actually affect them. Do you get what I'm saying? So some of them, it is fear as to why they're not getting involved and why they're not sticking up for you. And some of them, it's because they do witchcraft as well. And you'd be surprised. They may not be targeting anybody, but they're into this type of stuff as well. Let me give you an example. So I remember when I spoke about like what's going on with my situation in the past, right? One of the people that refused to listen to me and one of the people that were trying to gaslight me into making me feel like I was wrong for even thinking this, the Lord showed me that they are into money spells. Like they do a lot of money spells to gain income. So no, they're not attacking anybody, but they're into money spells. And the Lord, when the Lord showed me that, it made so much sense because I was like, okay, if the person is doing spells to gain money and they're doing it because they feel like it actually works, why would they think that me saying someone's doing black magic to attack me is not real if they're actually into doing spells and they know that the spell that they're doing is obviously has some sort of effect for them, right? So because they didn't know that I knew this, that's how I was able to catch them in their manipulation tactic, right? However, I know it sounds horrible, but there's some that ideally want this to happen to you because they despise the fact that you are the chosen one. So it's almost like it's like a TV show for them. It's almost like it's entertainment for them. And it's almost like, you know, when you're at a basketball court and you have one team and then you have another team, one team's cheering on this team, one team's cheering on the other team. It's something like that. Okay? It's something like that because the spotlight is on you. But the point of the matter is, the Lord doesn't want you to say anything yet to the witch, okay? Let me tell you why. There's a time and a season for that. This is for the person that has been thinking about doing this, but God has not told them to do this. Wait on God's timing to confront her. And the reason for this is because when you wait on God's timing, and when God says, yes, now it's time to say something, that's when the countdown begins. What is the countdown? Well, going back to the book of Exodus, remember how Pharaoh was very stubborn. Remember how God gave Moses instructions and told Moses to confront Pharaoh and to call him out, right? And that was when the countdown happened. The countdown to Moses and his army's death, right? Now, I'm not saying that that's going to happen to your enemy. No, what I'm saying is the consequence, the wrath of God. That's when the countdown happens to the major wrath of God. Whatever wrath that's going to change this person's life. Okay, and that's God's decision. That's not man's decision. All right. But the countdown will happen. So as in when God tells you to confront the person, that's when God is going to be giving the person chance after chance after chance after chance to make things right. But if you go and you prematurely say something and the countdown has not begun yet, they may end up retaliating and they may end up making things a bit harsher. Not only that, sorry to say this, but there's people in your family that just won't care. If you call them out, they won't care. And like I said before, some of them, they have no judgment towards you for calling them out, right? From the no judgment text, but they won't say anything because they don't want to get involved. But then there's some who actually see this as entertainment, okay? They see this entertainment because low-key, they don't even want you to win. Low-key, they know that you're the curse breaker. Low-key, they know that your strength is unmatched. Low-key, they know you're favored by God. And this is also something that triggers them, right? So it's just best not to say anything until God says to say something. Again, I've been through something like this, and many other people who watch my channel has been through something like this. So I'm not telling you this from a place of, oh, I think I know it all. No, I'm telling you this from a place of wisdom and experience, right? And it's always best to wait for God to tell you when to call them out, because there's a reasoning for it. Okay, sometimes also receipts have to be collected, right? Whenever you call out a witch or warlock and you prematurely call them out, that also gives them a time to be a little bit more sneaky with what they're doing. So they're not going to be as sloppy with it like they were. They're going to be a little bit more discreet, more sneaky, and you don't want to show the enemy your next chess move, basically, right? So I just want to share this with someone. I love you guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye.